friends, welcome to User Friendly episode 47. I'm your co-host, Erfan Elijah. I am a writer for Cultimac. I do the Cultcast audio podcast. You may have heard of it, maybe not. I'm here with my friend
Roberto Hoyos from throwboy.com.
And
Episode 47.
Episode 47, and User Friendly is the podcast where Roberto and I talk about our favorite stuff on the web, all things geek, and anything else that strikes our fancy, since I'm missing the third one.
Mobile devices.
We're really big into mobile devices.
I just like to throw out, like, synergy. We do that, too.
We really like synergy as well. Synergizing our strategies. We have a good show for you guys today. Got some interesting topics to talk about.
We thought we had nothing to talk about.
But that happens every show. And
That's
somehow
true.
we pull through two or three things out of the internet that's actually interesting.
And then I walk up and I say mobile devices.
And then we talk about mobile devices.
Is it weird that now we call everything devices? Devices used to be such a technical term, like in the laboratory he has his device.
That's true.
And now it's like everything is device.
And now my mom uses devices.
Devices sounds such a weird name.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Let's see. I don't know. I've been working a lot this week. It's been
me too.
It's like down to that crunch time where I can still deliver holiday orders in time. So been trying to bust through all that. And yeah, working on a new website, which I hope will be out next year.
Okay. Hopefully it will be out next year.
Yeah.
You got some time.
Yeah. What about you?
So I've had a busy week as well. For anyone that follows me on Twitter, you may know I was invited to co-host Creative Live, which if you've never heard of it, it's pretty cool. It's this website where they bring in amazing instructors from all around the world. And they teach classes, usually on photography, things that are creative in nature, which is why it's called Creative Live. And you can watch the classes for free. And then if you want to like watch them after the class has been broadcast, you can pay some money and they let you do that. It's kind of like on-demand YouTube in a way. So I was doing that on Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday I was there. Monday and Tuesday I was co-hosting. And it was cool. It was a lot of fun. It had to be there super early.
That sucks.
7:30 on Monday and Tuesday.
So you're waking up at like 5:30.
I got up at 6 both days, and I have just been dragging.
That's too bad.
Dude, for those who don't know me, I am not a morning person.
Yeah, neither am I.
Unless I'm up till the morning.
Yeah, seriously. I still get up at okay times, like maybe like 9 or 10, 11, you know. But I used to be really bad about it. When I started working for myself, I would just work until the next day. And then be up, you know, getting up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you know. And it's stupid because really the rest of the world still works on a schedule. Yeah. You can't work, you know, I mean, maybe if you're in the web space, you can just work at all crazy hours, you know, where it doesn't really matter. But like for people like us where we're delivering things, you know, at Throwboy, we're delivering stuff. It's like, it doesn't stop. It's like we have to put things in at a certain time or nothing gets done. So.
And I have some people that I work with on the East Coast. And it's like, dude, if you get up at 12, it's like, dude, it's 3 o'clock their time. Like, they're really only going to be available for another hour or two, and then they peace out. Yeah, so it's I just love being up late. Like, I could be up till 6 a.m. No problem.
Playing Xbox.
Just doing whatever. I mean, I don't even know. Sometimes I'm productive. A lot of times at that late at night, I'm definitely not. So yeah, I think 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. is a good time. 10's even better, but 9's pretty good. I can do 9. But dude, 6 a.m. it takes some getting used to for sure. But anyway, that's over. They may have me back. I'm not sure. So I may be doing that again in the future. But you should check them out, creativelive.com. Maybe learn a thing or two, especially if you're into photography. I would definitely check it out because that's kind of like one of their strong points is having like really great photographers come in and teach classes. But on to some Apple stuff.
Yeah, first story of the day.
Netflix. Where's my dog? Toaster. We're going to have her host this thing. I heard today... Actually, Buster, my Cultcast compadre, told me about this.
Buster Bunny
told me that Apple has trademarked that signature sound that you hear when you start up your computer.
Bong.
Bum, bum. And I didn't realize they hadn't already trademarked it. And if you listen to the Cult Cast, we start the Cult Cast off with this sound.
Yeah, I think that a few. I listened to an old like Macintosh history one, and they started with one of the sounds. And I remember when I was like a huge Mac nerd, I researched those because I remember I had an app that would let you play all of them. And I didn't realize there were so many. I thought that one that we have on our Macs today was just a very old sound.
But I actually did too, yeah. But then you found this.
But yeah, when it started, it was just a one tone like beep, and then it progressed. So I found a YouTube video.
Do you know how old that one tone beep was?
That's the 1984 one.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I found this old one that I'll show / you can hear. And yeah, it's interesting how many different ones they used to have. Oh wait. Redo. Okay, here we go.
That's the one I remember.
See, that was surprising that it changed there. And then it changed again there.
Someone was like, we have to make it lower.
Yeah. Isn't that surprising that it changed just a tad? And that was probably like a Steve Jobs thing. Like, well...
It needs to be lower in pitch.
And so I always wondered, where does that come from? Because it actually reminded me of a Beatles song. So I was wondering, I was like, well, Steve's a Beatles fanatic. Did he actually do that on purpose?
Do you remember what song?
Yeah. So there's a song, A Day in the Life. And I'll play a little bit of it. Well, for those, if you don't remember this song, I'll start it and then I'll go to the end.
Okay.
So...
Oh man.
You remember this song? No, this is not the
song. Even that piano chord sounds like it a little bit to me.
Okay, so a lot of people have heard this song, but it has this ending. So where it gets all crazy, and then there's silence, and then it does that tone that I thought was the Apple tone. Maybe inspired by it. I don't know. It's my theory.
I feel like I'm about to be attacked by a shark. Dude, totally. That's totally it.
And then it just lingers for a long time.
That's totally the sound. Play the app. Can you play that video again? The last part of it?
Yeah. It's a little bit higher pitch.
It's a different pitch, yeah, but it definitely has. It's like the same chord structure.
Isn't that interesting?
That's crazy. I wonder if that's why they went to that.
I don't know because so there's this documentary called Welcome to Macintosh. It's really good. It might still be on Netflix, and they interview all these different people that had involvement with Apple, and they interview a really old software developer.
How old is he? Like 100?
He's old, man. Old timer. Not that old, but like he's like 50s or whatever, right?
Okay.
So he was the guy that responsible for making the one that we know today, like the actual chord, not the beep, right? And he never mentions anything about where he got that inspiration. He's like kind of this snarky guy, so it's like, what did Apple like? He's like very not into Apple anymore. He probably doesn't work there anymore, right? And he's just kind of like, I don't know, I just threw it together and like did that. Whatever it is, it's like a major 7 or something. It's some interesting chord, and then that's it. And then they don't actually say why they decided to have that. But in the old Macintosh, they wanted it to have some sort of like friendly beep, and that was what they could do back then, which is that simple ding.
Interesting. So maybe it doesn't have anything to do with.
That was the friendly.
That was
beep.
the friendly beep.
Yeah.
I want to hear what an unfriendly beep sounds like, because it doesn't really sound very friendly to me.
But dude, I always thought that was my pet theory was that they took that from the Beatles.
Well, dude, hearing it. When did the song come out? In the 70s, probably.
1969.
1969?
Or 1967.
Especially the low register of that chord sounds exactly like a startup Mac. Well, here's the interesting thing, and here is one of the reasons why I want to talk about this, because I'm like, this is crazy. I mean, so Apple trademarked a chord It's a musical chord. And Buster was contacting me. He's like, well, dude, does this mean that we have to change the beginning of the cult cast? And at first I was like, dude, it probably does. But then I started thinking about it. I was like, dude, there's no way they can trademark a chord in general.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably very specific. Like, you cannot use this chord at whatever pitch it is. So I heard it was just a few degrees under a G flat. Hello. And you probably could not use that exact pitch in like if you were using a startup noise for a device.
Right.
Like
that's gotta be
device.
I mean, that's what trademarks are anyway. They always have to say specific use cases. You know,
right? Yeah.
When you trademark or even copyright, that's what it entails. It's like, what is this used for? When was it started to be used? You know. And it's definitely not just like a chord, because you were saying that means all music can't use that chord.
So if you're using a G flat chord in your songs, you're probably gonna get a cease and desist from Apple lawyers pretty soon, and they're gonna be really nice. They're gonna be like, "Hey, we just want you to know that if you use the G chord, you owe us $1,000."
Yeah, you just gotta give us royalties. It's not a big deal. You can still have your song.
You can still have your song because we're not gonna make you take that down.
There go backdating and sue the Beatles.
Dude, which ultimately means they've come full circle, right? Because when Steve first started the company, they were in a legal battle, and this is his final revenge from his deathbed.
It was in his will.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go thermonuclear on the Beatles for trying to take my Apple. Anyway, so we're sticking with that sound because I think it's so iconic. It's funny, I never thought about this when we started the cult cast, but people always say, like, when their Macs start, they always think of the cult cast.
That's cool.
Because it starts with that sound and then we go into the show, and I was like, I could not have planned that, obviously, but even when my Mac starts, I expect to hear my voice. Hello, and welcome to your iMac.
But I always thought that they were going to phase that away sooner or later, because the startup screens have changed over time. They used to have like the little Mac face, and then now you don't see that anymore. Like the Finder face is kind of going away from being the identity of the Mac. Now you see an Apple.
That's actually true.
Like an Apple is the first thing you see. So I was like, well, sooner or later they're just not going to care about that startup sound, because I remember when this came out, I was like, oh, that'd be cool if it did the startup sound. But like the more and more iOS is progressing, they're getting away from these old things like the Finder face and colorful icons that look like three-dimensional things, you know? Like, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're gonna get rid of more and more of this legacy stuff, you know?
Well, they trademarked it now, so now you think they're pretty much saying they're gonna stick with it. Why else would they trademark it?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Of course, who knows?
But
they trademark everything.
They trademark everything and at weird times too, you know? So, I don't know.
You know, to your point about them moving on past like colorful icons and stuff, it's interesting when you go back and look at the stuff they used to do and see how crappy it looked. Like, they have streamlined their appearances across the entire company so well, because when you look back, I mean, they really were like a Microsoft. It looked like engineers were creating their icons and stuff.
Well, dude, everything looked like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like their first icons were actually like nice. You know, like they had like personality, even though they were black and white and 8-bit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even until OS 10 that people even thought to do things that looked like a physical stamp, like for mail and stuff. You know, people would do like these crappy mailboxes and stuff. Even Apple, right?
Yeah.
So I think it was a restructure of like, let's rethink this. Let's make it like more interesting to look, more visually appealing, you know? Like, do you remember seeing OS 10 for the first time? I remember cracking up that the hard drive looked like a hard drive. Because I was like, that's so crazy.
It didn't really make an impression on me. I mean, I guess because I had grown up on like Windows 95, so by the time I had used a Mac, like all that stuff is stuff I had already seen. I did think that the Mac, but when I first really started getting into Macs, I was like, wow, their icons look really nice, like way nicer than Windows, right? Like, and sometimes the icon looked like the device that you were actually using, which. I mean, I was like flabbergasted. I was like, this looks fantastic.
Yeah, and then when you could actually dive in and go to the source and blow it up, and they're like these giant icons, like with tons of detail. Really good.
Funny aside, I actually used to work not for Microsoft, but for a company that built icons for Microsoft. So we would create icons for like Windows Vista and all that kind of stuff, and like the amount of work and detail that goes into those things is incredible. You wouldn't believe it.
I think you've told me about that.
Yeah, but anyway, speaking of 8-bit art, you wanted to show me something, right?
Oh yeah. I don't know much about this, but we can go over it.
Oh, so this is the documentary.
Yeah, so there's this documentary coming out. I'll just
With Steve Wozniak?
with the Woz. I'll do a little piece of it, and we can kind of comment afterwards.
Okay.
So there's a documentary coming out. I might be close to coming out, but it's called 8-Bit Generation. And here's a trailer for it.
This is the room where I came up with some of the ideas. This is where I was studying and learning about business.
I dreamed about small computers my entire life. When I was in high school, there were a lot of mini computers that came out. I could never afford a part to build one, but I told my dad, I'm going to have a computer someday of my own.
I've learned who the Americans are. And I came up with the idea, like, say, if you work hard, you can
Nice
do
shades.
whatever your ability is. You can go right up to heaven. In the 50s, there was no company in America that grew the way IBM did. It was extraordinary. They ground out numbers. It was phenomenal. And then at some point it ended.
Very early personal computer companies were largely on the West Coast, and I think that's because the semiconductor industry was there.
I think the reason that the smaller companies were able to do it was they were just simply more flexible, they were more adaptable, and they were younger and didn't have the baggage of the history and all of the other parts of the business that they had nothing else to do.
The guys who did my team in microprocessor were all
This guy.
Okay. The guys that did the original computer, I think, were under 25.
A lot of the people in the club certainly wouldn't consider themselves business people. They weren't temperamentally suited to it. And many of them had a kind of negative view of business. But I don't think anybody was philosophically opposed to doing business at a low and intimate level.
Bill Gates has always been an excellent businessman, above and beyond his abilities at programming or computer strategy or whatever.
Jack was Jewish. He was an Auschwitz survivor, 6 years, and he saw business as a...
We can watch the rest later.
That's cool. I'm actually interested in watching it now that we're watching like this preview.
I know, right? It's long. That's why I didn't want to bore people.
Yeah.
But I actually was interested while I was watching it.
We should just kept it going the whole show.
Yeah. So that is.
So this is a documentary. Is it out or not?
I actually don't have very much information. About
December
it.
8th. It said December 8th.
Yeah. Oh. Well, then it is out.
So it must have. Oh wait, is that December 8th or December 6th?
8th,
The very top.
6th. But
so it must have just come out.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't research this very.
No, that's fine.
Oh yeah.
Research.
Oh yeah.
This show.
Okay. Cool.
Research.
It's already out on a DVD. Cool.
So I wonder where else it's available.
Yeah. I don't know why 8-Bit Generation's website is like on the Wayback Machine for some reason. That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
But you can find that trailer on YouTube. It's just 8-Bit Generation. But yeah, that looks really cool. I've always been like such a nerd into wanting to know where these things came from, and
Yeah.
And it's nice to see like getting all these older people back together to talk about this stuff. That they're still around. It's crazy because like they were like our age, inventing all this stuff that we use so just casually.
I think they're just kind of irking their way through.
And we're just kind of like, oh, who's this old guy, whatever. And they're like the people that created this stuff, It's insane.
Wait, so this is a documentary. Okay, I'm on Hacker News now.
Yeah.
So this is actually a series they're making.
Oh, is that right?
They only finished making the first episode of 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
The first episode is called Insert Coin. It's the premiere of the first episode.
I found a...
This is weird.
I found a place where you can buy it, but they're in euros.
Okay, so the documentary, it says here, is going to be out in February, but according to their website, it's already out, right?
Yeah, it's confusing. They don't just have a regular.
Search the internet for it. Go on Google.
What do you think about it?
It looks awesome. I want to see it.
Maybe if it's
as somebody who's
streaming,
talked with Woz before, I'm interested to see how they edited it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Woz can talk.
Yeah.
If you saw our Cultcast episode with Woz on it, I mean, that guy, like, you'll ask him a question and he's just like, totally just keeps talking about whatever he was talking about. He's a focused man.
Okay, actually, it's 8-bit, the number 8-bit generation.info.
Oh, okay. .info.
Yeah.
.cr.gov. Because that was the last URL left. Awesome. Well, speaking of 8-bit video games, these are all just tying together, or 8-bit video stuff. You want to show me another thing, right?
Sure, yeah.
About video games?
Yeah.
And this actually looks really cool.
So this is actually something I just found yesterday. This is a, what do they call it? Like a plugin on Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
Chrome extension.
Oh, this is an extension.
Yeah, this is a Chrome extension. So when you go to like the Chrome store, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You go to the Chrome store and you can download this. It's called 90s Games or something, 90s Kids Games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it seemed kind of cool at first. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Even though I have a lot of these actual games, so I don't even play them. I mean, like, I play them like as novelty, or if somebody wants to come over and play them, I'll let them, you know. But so I was like, okay, let me check these out. And I checked out Final Fight Part 2, because I used to be into these beat 'em up games. And it was really weird. So I wanted to show it to you. So first of all, it's in Japanese, I think. But it's in sort of Japanese and it's like not really Final Fight, it's like Street Fighter Final Fight.
Final Street 2!
So
I wonder how they got away with this.
It looks like a really weird scrambly version of Street Fighter. So and like Ken's there, and then this guy's in that Samurai Showdown.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
Choose your guard.
You win is what he said. Did you hear that? Okay, let's do it.
Okay, does that make sense to you? Okay. Oh, okay, there you go.
Okay, so it's like a fighting game, but yet this is a beat 'em up game. So yeah, let's do it as good thing I changed it to English, right? Okay, now
the graphics look pretty good.
Yeah, but what the hell do you do? Like,
you win. He already said that.
What is this?
Ah! This is great.
Like,
it's like Double Dragon Street Fighter.
What is happening? I'm not even pressing anything. What? What is going on?
So this is not actually playable, obviously.
I think it is, but it's like if a bad arcade game like went crazy.
Have you never seen this whole thing?
No.
Oh, you haven't? That makes it even better. Like, apparently you're in hell.
Can you try to play and I'll film?
Dude. I have absolutely no idea what to do here.
My camera cut out. Sorry about that. Yeah, see? Was that an intro screen or something?
It must have been an intro screen.
I love this crazy music. He's just, look, we're not touching anything. He's running around in circles.
So to summarize, don't download this into your Google Chrome. We've obviously never looked at this before.
It's like totally broken.
Edit. My favorite part though is when he's just walking and there's just all these really strange enemies, and then finally there's the freaking dinosaur. And he like jump kicks him when he comes towards the screen and breaks it. That was actually a small bit of genius.
But you know what it reminds me of? It was like when you stumble onto like weird Japanese TV.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah. There's all this crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
I wish I knew Japanese so I knew what the hell was going on. Of course, even if you knew Japanese, you probably would not still know what's going on.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, so you have one more thing.
Yeah, dude, so...
Last story of the day.
Last story of the day, but first, Netflix. What think our sponsors? Netflix.
No one thinks it's funny.
No one probably even gets it.
Okay.
So, I gotta find out what you think about this, dude. So, Samuel L. Jackson was in the new Star Wars movies. If you watched our previous episodes, we talked about Disney bought the Star Wars franchise. They're gonna be making some new movies. The first one's gonna come out in 2015, and apparently Samuel L. Jackson is begging people to be a part of it, even though his character.
Begging Disney.
Yes, he really wants to be in it very much. And let me read this quote. I'm not sure if it will be relevant to our conversation at all.
Okay.
Let me see here. Samuel L. Jackson said in an interview with E! I'm not surprised but totally geeked by the idea of there being more Star Wars. It's like, okay, Obi-Wan was dead when episode 4 started, so maybe everyone thinks I'm dead, and we'll find out what really happened to Mace Windu, great name. I can come back as a one-armed or one-handed Jedi that's still around and didn't actually die.
He got his head cut off.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's going to have like a robotic head.
It's like they probably deliberately took him out.
And then, of course, you should definitely put this on the screen. Because that's what it's going to be like. You know what? Honestly, this graphic, you still are showing it, right? Like, that is his picture from... what's the name of the movie? Pulp Fiction, right?
Yeah, right?
That's him in Pulp Fiction. Did you like Samuel L. Jackson in Star Wars?
No. He doesn't, he's just a wood. You know, he doesn't talk. He's just like, he's a piece of wood.
Yeah. Well, I would say he's negative wood. Like, his character was so... It took away from the movie. Because Samuel L. Jackson is a good actor, but he's one of those actors that he has that certain role that he always plays.
Yeah.
Like, there's character actors, and then there's Samuel L. Jackson actors, right? That play themselves,
right,
but they're in these weird scenarios. Like, so when I see him as Mace Windu, I'm like, I'm no longer watching a sci-fi movie because Samuel L. Jackson has just pulled me out of the entire fantasy and has put me into real-world America today.
I never liked his involvement in it much because it was always just like... It was like this, like the quote where he's just like, "Hey, I want to be in Star Wars. Let me be in Star Wars. I want to be in Star Wars. Let me
totally.
Be in Star Wars."
It's like even though I personally do not feel like he's a good fit for the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It's like he still really wants to be in it just because he wants to be involved with it. And I don't know if he actually said this, but I heard that he was saying that he was talking to George Lucas about how there were no black people in the future.
Yeah. Well, dude,
which is pretty funny actually.
I mean, well,
it's like it's a good point because when you watch Star Wars, it's like, well, no, dude, you had
Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, Billy D. Williams, and he was like the
saying.
best person in the whole movie.
Yeah. Actually, there's this really good Star Wars review / review that you should watch, and one of the things that your guy on Cultcast actually brought it up once. So this dude, it's like this character called Plinkett, and it's like this guy who he's like playing like a weird guy. But anyway, what he does is he reviews every one of the prequels in really long depth, like really long, like an hour long or something like that. And one of the things he brought up was that he thinks that Samuel L. Jackson was brought on for like the urban crowd, like because he's like the urban crowd don't necessarily like these kinds of geek movies, and that's why they brought him on. So then they have that appeal to.
Oh my gosh, if that's true. That is the most asinine reason for putting someone in a movie I can possibly think of.
But the whole movie is a train wreck, so it wouldn't surprise me that much.
That's like taking like what are those movies that usually have all black casts? It's like Grandma's House or something.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's like
Medea,
like the Medea movies and putting like somebody that they think white people is gonna like into the movie so white people will watch it.
Yeah.
It's like it's very obvious that it's a movie for black people. It's like just like there are movies for Asian people, just like there are movies for white people. It's like there are certain cultures that different people are drawn to.
Yeah, and there's certain jokes that culture thinks are funny.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
not some people don't want to admit that, but it's completely true.
It's totally true.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just that's just the way we are. It's just like, as geeks, we find certain things funny.
Right.
Like you could make a Star Wars joke and we think it's funny.
Right.
And that wouldn't work with other crowds. So anyway, like putting him in the movie, I think more than bring like an African American demographic would just make people who didn't think he was well cast for the role, not want to watch it. It's not about being a race. It's not about race. It's like he just is not a good, like his acting skills and his, personality and all that stuff. I just personally don't think is good for that fantasy world. You know what I mean? It'd be like putting him in The Hobbit.
Arguably, he wasn't like, hey, motherfucker. Like, he wasn't like that in this movie at all.
No, but
he was like the exact opposite.
No, but I feel like that is, at least for me, that is the role that he does really well.
Yeah, you want him to be Shaft.
No, I don't. Not in Star Wars. If he does a Shaft movie, that would be awesome. But like, I feel like when he's just being like Mace Windu, it's just like him just speaking. I'm not articulating this well.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm like, when I see him in a role like that, I'm like, that is not you. Like you were not able to pull that role off. Just like you would not be able to be Catwoman. It's like that's not a role that's built for you.
Yeah.
There are probably people that disagree with me. I'm okay with that. I hope he's not in the next.
I just think that I think that's silly that he wants to be so bad at it. Because then it's just like, great, we're off to a great start with these new Star Wars movies, aren't we? Because we wanted to have like a good Star Wars movie. Oh wait, no, we're gonna have to have legacy of people that just want to be in it.
Yeah, you're gonna have like the Mexican council, so you can have people from Mexico watch it. Make sure you put some Germans in there.
Not even that.
It's so you can grab the German audience.
Not even that. I'm just saying like, great, we're gonna have like what's his name, Jake Lloyd back because he wants to be in it now. It's like that kind of thing.
I honestly think Mace Windu's character was as bad as the original Anakin. It was totally pointless. Yeah. Like when I saw him in the movie, I was like, what? It was like, you know what? Just to be fair, it was like when I watched the new Batman and we saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character. He's a spectacular actor, but I'm like, why is this character in this movie? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Like he's not adding anything to this.
It's weird because some people really liked it.
Well, they're wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know, and I'm right.
Do you know some people that actually thought he was awesome? That I would know that you're not just gonna make up.
Maybe I don't. I think people just like that ending. They're like, ooh, that's gonna be cool.
Actually, arguably, the ending was pretty cool.
I didn't like that. I thought that was stupid.
Did you really?
Yeah. I didn't even really like that movie that much. It was alright, but I thought Dark Knight was a zillion times better than Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, because we saw the last Batman together. Yeah. I agree. The latest Batman movie was, I think, the worst of the three.
You should really watch. Here, I'm going to go back to that. I really think you should, and I don't think you'll do it because you never watch what I tell you to watch.
Dude, what do you mean? I always watch. I usually sometimes watch what you suggest.
Okay, this thing
after repeated suggestions.
It's called, for everyone watching, it's called redlettermedia.com, and there's this reviews called Plinkett Reviews. They review every one of the Star Wars in very great detail, and it's very well done, I think, and it's pretty long. So if you need something to watch,
is it the Emperor wearing sunglasses?
Yeah,
I like that.
So, but he brings up a lot of really good points. Like, you know how Lucas said these movies are for kids. Like, stop worrying about it. It's just for kids, And then he shows so many scenes that are just about like the Chancellor wanted to like all this kind of like political crap, and he's like, he shows little kids sitting in front of a TV watching that. And he's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did I hit a sore spot with you?
I just hate it when movies are. I hate it when they do things in movies for the wrong reasons. Whenever I hear marketing stuff, I'm just like,
yeah,
that is not why you should cast a specific character or person of a certain race. It's just like, make the movie good. Cast people who are good for the roles that you're creating, so that the movie is coherent and enjoyable.
You would like this. You should watch it.
You know what else I saw at the very top of that was an advertisement for Ted, that movie with that teddy bear.
I keep seeing that everywhere.
Did you see it?
No. It's funny. I might see it, but I just hate how people are like the funniest movie of all time.
It's not.
Like,
I watched it, and
that's one of the reviews, actually.
Is it really?
The voiceover guy, the funniest movie of all time.
But isn't that isn't the person doing the voiceover for it? Isn't it Seth?
No, MacFarlane. No,
Yeah.
it's just like they're reading reviews.
You know what the full review was? This is definitely not the funniest movie of all time. And they just crop. You know how they always crop out that one little section?
There's dots in front of the back.
I would give my life because I know for sure that this is not the funniest movie of all time. Because it was not even close. There were some parts of it that were funny, but to me, it just felt like. Did you ever see MacGruber?
Yeah. Or no, I didn't watch the movie. No.
Okay, well, lucky you. MacGruber is really good as a short on SNL, but like when you draw it out into this like long movie and put all these ridiculous jokes in there, like it works in a short format. But when you see it in a long format like a movie, you're like, I feel like this movie was written by somebody who's never written a movie before.
Or like for stoners.
Yeah. So it was okay. I would give it like a C-.
That's funny because there's been other stuff that have come out of SNL skits, and one of the best is Wayne's World, and that works, and it doesn't seem like it would work.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it would work. It's like two guys on a couch. How do you make that into a show?
Yeah, and Wayne's World 1 and 2
and
are
they're so funny.
Great.
Yeah, they're so good.
They really are. They're not Ted, that's
they're
for sure.
Most excellent.
All right, well, hey, let's wrap it up.
Oh, wait. That's Bill and Ted.
I always get those mixed up.
Me too.
Anyway, let's wrap it up till next week. We'll end our racism for the day. I can't believe how racist you are.
What did I say? I'm just repeating what I read.
You know what's weird is I feel like anytime, especially with some people, it's like if you even acknowledge the fact that there are different races,
yeah, they get really
and there's cultural differences at all,
or women as opposed to men differences.
Yes, it's like you are automatically somehow sexist or racist, and I'm like,
I get that a lot.
It's especially in Seattle where we live. It's like there are different cultures. Listen, like my family is Persian. There are things that Persian people do that no one else does, and you would probably not think it's funny, but because I know them, I think it's hilarious.
I think it's cool. I think you should embrace that you have a different culture, you know? Like
I totally agree with you.
I'm Peruvian, and I know that there's things that people in Peru,
yes.
Peruvian people in America do different. Right. And I'm like, that's funny, that's cool, you know?
Well, that's the attitude, right? Like that's funny because it's something that we embrace.
Our own thing, yeah.
Yes, not as that's funny because you're a bad culture or whatever, which I feel like sometimes is how people take it if you bring it up. Like you shouldn't even delineate that there are any kind of differences.
But we have a lot of international viewers, so they, I
think probably 85% of our viewership is in the UK, and we know they're all racist.
And see, they get along.
So you guys don't mind.
Yeah, it's like they've been around way longer than the US.
No, dude. Yeah, that's true.
They know what's up.
So they know how it goes. But our Australian listeners, watchers, and our British listeners and watchers are so much easier going. In fact, I was reading something on Reddit the other day. I feel like in the United States, like there's like a big kind of like faux pas. You shouldn't talk about like religion, especially with atheist people, because it really makes them angry. And like I feel like atheist people sometimes will go out of their way to make sure they don't believe in any type of God or anything. And then I read this thing on Reddit where it was like atheist people say Merry Christmas to other people, even though they don't believe in God and it's not a big deal. And I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Just because you're not into it.
It's this whole like politically correct.
Yeah, we're so steeped in it in the U.S. right now.
Really, yeah.
I'm gonna say we should probably end my tangent before I say anything else.
Okay, well, if the listeners want to hear more of your tangents, where can they go online?
Okay, well, @Airphone on Twitter is a great place to hear my racist comments. And also, the Cultcast, search for the Cultcast on iTunes if you're not already listening to it. And you can hear me talking about all things Apple with some of my other friends.
Neat.
What about you, sir?
I am on Twitter as well. It's just @Roberto Hoyos, RobertoHoyos. But I also have a business Twitter, which I just tweet whatever I want still.
A business Twitter?
And it's just @Throwboy.
Oh, for some reason in my mind, when you said your Twitter handle, I thought you started with @Throwboy. I'm like, do you have another Twitter that I don't know about? It's Roberto Biz.
And you guys can also follow us on Twitter. It's just I'm user friendly, but then better place is probably Facebook. Facebook.com/yeah. User friendly show.
And did you mention our YouTube page?
Go ahead.
YouTube.com/user friendly show and subscribe on iTunes. Did you say that already?
Go ahead.
So make sure you subscribe on iTunes and just search for user friendly show on iTunes and it'll pop up with us going like this.
Yeah, and leave us a nice review.
Yeah, please leave us a nice review.
You know what we're going to do?
What?
We're going to read a review right now.
Oh, good idea.
Because I stole that from another show I just listened to, and they did a whole thing.
You know what? I should start doing this for the Cultcast. It's a good idea.
Okay.
How many reviews do we have now?
I don't know.
19. We've gone up 2.
Okay, read a review, Airphone. Read this one. This is nice and long.
Holy smokes, this is long. This is by Real Mustache. Real Mustache, thank you for your 5-star review on October 28th. You said, I love this podcast. I only sub to a few, and this is one I watch every week. Airphone and Roberto have great chemistry, and I love their witty banter. Thank you, sir. This show is easily digestible, will not give you gas. I added that last part. Covers a few topics every week in tech and the web. I really enjoy how personal the show is. The hosts always take a few minutes at the start of each episode to greet each other and catch up on what they've been doing during the week. You know, it's funny. I never thought anyone would enjoy that. That's cool to hear. I also love how engaged they are with their audience, welcoming questions and feedback from their Facebook page. We do welcome feedback from our Facebook page.
Thank you, Real Mustache.
Thank you, Real Mustache. And I hope that you have a real mustache.
Day.
And that you're not just lying on the internet.
Alrighty. Well,
okay.
I think that was it.
That's
Episode 47 of User Friendly.
Yep. I've decided that I should sign off with a double salute on every show.
Well, we will see you.
We'll see how long I hold that up.
Next week.